bet you haven't thought about voltage drop like this. It's time for something new. We have been teaching voltage drop for years. I know, I'm a teacher. And many students struggle with it because it's confusing. It's out of date and it needs to be updated. Now look at these things. Are these things out of date or have they just been updated? They are out of date. They all still work, right? They can accomplish the task that they were designed for, but today there are better ways, better tools. There are updated versions. Now the same thing can be true about our testing tools. They get outdated. Our automotive testing tools have updated from analog to digital and now to the power probe. We've been teaching it the same way for years. We're stuck in the past. Isn't it about time that our teaching is updated just like our tools have been updated? Now it's a fact. Over the years, our cars have updated and our tools have updated and the components that we test have all been updated. Now here's another fact. Electricity itself has not changed or been updated. It's still the same. But since everything else has been updated, isn't it about time that our teaching is updated? One of the fundamental teachings is voltage drop, and that is the one that needs updating. Not the fundamental concept, just its name and how we teach it. Voltage drop is simply the consumption of energy caused by a resistor, so let's call it what it is. It's always been taught as a mathematical calculation. Ohm's law is a mathematical calculation. Well, it should be taught as a concept, not math. And that concept is energy consumption. Now here is the updated teaching concept that I propose. Let's teach voltage drop as energy consumption. Voltage drop should be taught as energy consumption. The purpose of any circuit is to make a load work, accomplish a task, and that requires energy, and that energy is consumed as the work is being done. The load is used up. Now for simplicity's sake here, I'm going to use a light bulb circuit. Now the physics of energy tells us that energy is never lost. It simply changes its state. Think of it like this. Energy is pushing in to be used, to do work, and that energy is consumed by the load. It changes its state, and then it returns to the source. Energy is never lost. It simply changes its state. All of this energy is stored in one battery. And that battery has two sides, a positive state of charge and a negative state of charge. Those are the two sides. One battery full of energy that is never lost. It simply changes from a positive state of charge to a negative state of charge. And when we add a load to accomplish some work, that energy will be consumed as it does the work. Now you will notice the light is working, and that's because everything is connected. Current is flowing. Energy is being pushed into the bulb, and the bulb consumes that energy. It doesn't go away, it changes its state, and then it returns to the battery. Now, when we add a switch and open that switch, nothing works, even though we still have our energy source, because there is no return path. Current can't flow. Energy is not being consumed. It's not changing its state because of the open switch. Now, I'm sure you all know this. Nothing is new here, right? Now we always talk about volts, ohms, and amps. And here's a pretty simple illustration. Volts is the energy that pushes amps through a wire. But resistance, called ohms, opposes that energy push. And that's where the state of charge is changing or being consumed. Amps, current, can't flow because of an open switch. No continuity equals no flow. Continuity means whatever energy comes to it can flow through it. Because of the open switch, the energy is there, but it can't flow through it. In a working circuit, voltage is the electrical energy pressure or push, and we need to measure that pushing pressure. In a good working circuit, we would measure that as 12.6 volts. 12.6 volts of potential energy pressure. Now resistance is opposition to that energy pressure or push. Now remember, in order for a load to work, it needs energy. That energy will be resisted, exhausted, or consumed as the work is being done. The purpose of the energy or the voltage is to overcome the resistance against that pushing pressure or energy in the circuit. That's what enables the load to work. Equal positive pressure against equal negative resistance causes friction, and that friction is what makes the load work. The positive pushing pressure will be exhausted, consumed, used up, utilized, depleted by the opposing negative pressure as it does the work. 12.6 volts of positive energy minus 12.6 volts of negative energy equals 0 volts of energy. Now when two energy states or forces are equal, they cancel each other out. The energy is exhausted. There is nothing left over. The reading drops to 0, or as close to 0 as possible. Now I know this comes as no surprise. It's the same old voltage drop. But this is teaching us as it should be, as energy consumption. But what if there was no resistance energy pressure? Nothing opposing the voltage. The pressure would be unequal. The unequal pressure would mean there would be no work. The bulb would not light up. The energy would not be consumed. And since it is not consumed, it is still at full potential, and the reading would be 12.6 volts. Now if the resisting negative energy pressure increased, but still not equal to the positive energy pushing pressure, some of that positive energy pressure would get through, but not the full amount. So the light would light up, but it would be dim. The positive energy pressure would be partially consumed. There would be some left over, unconsumed energy, and it would register on the meter as 11.6 volts of unconsumed energy. Now remember, the voltmeter displays the potential difference. Since the full potential was 12.6 volts, but it met a weaker, unequal resistance, the potential difference is unequal as well, and it would register as a lesser voltage, perhaps 11.6. Then, as the opposing energy increased more, but still not equal to the positive energy pressure, it would still not be equal. Unequal potential difference, and it would register as perhaps 10.6 volts potential difference energy pressure. 10.6 volts of unconsumed energy, and that's why the bulb is dim. As the opposing energy increases even more, the potential difference increases with it and would be reflected as perhaps 9.6 volts of potential energy difference, 9.6 volts of unconsumed energy. And once the opposing resistance energy again equals the positive pressure energy, the potential difference would then be equal as well, and that would be reflected as 0 volts of potential energy difference on the meter, 0 volts of unconsumed energy. In the past, voltage drop was taught as a math calculation, and if you want to do the calculations to determine the exact amount of energy consumed or lost, it is a math equation. But as far as understanding it goes, remember the concept of energy consumption, and you will understand how it's supposed to work. Voltage drop is simply the consumption of energy caused by a resistor. Voltage is the energy, drop is the consumption.